Members of Congress are as divided as the Supreme Court over the gay marriage issue. CBN's John Jessup spent the day on Capitol Hill getting reaction from the nation's leaders.
It was here on Capitol Hill nearly 17 years ago that lawmakers pushed through the Defense of Marriage Act. Sweeping majorities of the 535 lawmakers in the House and Senate approved that legislation. It only took 5 justices of the Supreme Court to overturn that law. And as you can imagine, that sparked strong opinions on both sides.
To me, this is a major pivot point. Admittedly, it's only a 5-4 decision, but it's there, it's solid. This train has left the station.
When DOMA was debated on the House floor, I spoke up against it, spoke out, because I don't think there's any room in our society for discriminating against someone because of sexual orientation.
What kind of signal do you think that sends to states when they're trying to figure out whether or not, when voters in the states are trying to figure this out?
Again, although they are legally inconsistent and logically contradictory, they are consistent in one respect, and that is ideologically.
If the courts don't understand their limited role here, then we need a federal marriage amendment to protect traditional marriage, not just for marriage and the couples, but for our children. I will introduce the federal marriage amendment perhaps later this week and call upon all my fellow Republicans who just a few years ago said they were for marriage or voted for marriage or supported those efforts in their state legislature, for them to step up and say marriage is so important, we need a marriage amendment now.
While they're on opposite sides of the debate, both sides agree that the fight over marriage is far from over. John Jessup, CBN News, reporting on Capitol Hill.
The court's decisions on marriage come as states remain split over the issue. The number of states permitting same-sex marriage has gone from 6 to 12 in the last year, but the drive to legalize it in Illinois stalled, and 30 state constitutions ban it. We're going to have full coverage of the court's rulings on cbnnews.com and on tomorrow's 700 Club. President Obama calls today's Supreme Court ruling on DOMA a victory. Before leaving for Africa, he issued a statement saying this ruling is a victory for couples who have long fought for equal treatment under the law, for children whose parents' marriages will now be recognized rightly as legitimate. He goes on to say how religious institutions define and consecrate marriage has always been up to those institutions. Nothing about this decision, which applies only to civil marriages, changes that.